Welcome to the start of a new week as we look ahead to hopefully a full program of local racing starting this Monday at Hollywood Bettsgrave, where we're racing on the poly track. And very good signs indeed from our meeting 24 hours ago in Pietermaritzburg, where the Scottsville meeting looked to have taken place under glorious sunshine and nothing untoward. So the weatherman promises us more of the same as we go to the poly track, and it's a first of eight off at 12:30. All right, in that first of 8, I'm happy to say just the one scratch in the 9 lemon cent. And I'm also happy to say that I'm joined by Daryl Marie here in studio. And shortly, we will be talking to Mr. Darren Burrows, hybrid-wise, as he gives us his thoughts on the afternoon. But first of all, Daryl, warm welcome. And it certainly was a warm one and a windy one at stages at Turveteen. The results, not the most outlandish.
Yeah, there were some form results. I think Troppo Valachi had a good chance as any over there, as well as Presley. But yeah, Cecil, Epico unfortunately knocked me out my perms. But we live to fight another day. That's why we're here. And hopefully we can get it right today. Not an easy event to start up with, Cecil. I've gone 3 horses in the opening leg of the bipot. I've gone numbers 2, 4, and 8. Irish Luck. Had a look at his breeding. He's actually related to Chatterton's keeper, who's a polytrack specialist, who was a polytrack specialist. I think he can improve back in trip with the blinkers. Torix Knight, I like the pace he showed last time out. More interest in running. And then Peter Both, he's been rested and gelded. Not too far behind Helsinki on Johnny the Thief run. So a bit of a roughie to go into the first leg of the bipot.
Yeah, and I just talked about Chatterton keeper. Smanga had a lot of success
Yes,
for Wendy
correct.
White, and he, as you know, he had that unfortunate fall on Saturday. But I did send a message through, and it seems that he will be okay.
Oh, great news.
Right, Darren, a very, very warm welcome to you on this Monday, Saturday. Were you another victim of Epico, or you picked it up that Epico possibly was a horse that you could contend with, especially over 1,000 meters? It's now won just over the 1,000 meters, and that was win number 6 from only 18 outings.
Yes, Cecil, well, my pick 6 I tipped. I had Epico. I went out bankering Cullinan Blue. She was drawn hard up on the outside. She ended up on the inside running rail. I thought that cost her at least a length. So I thought she should have won. But in saying that, Troppo Valachi was a main danger. Cape Town went well. It's Raining William, Lunch Money, Kyle Army Girl all arriving. Race 1, I thought Helsinki. The drop in trip's going to suit him. He's out of Mocha Java, who Michael Azzi trained, and she was a speedster over 1,000, 1,200. So I really believe with the 4 kilos off, Helsinki will be right there. Irish Luck, another one that's going to love the step back in trip. And then a horse like Griffin Park. Let's see how he goes, because they did rate him in Joburg, but he didn't quite deliver.
Indeed. We're going to have a look at the suggested bipot from Mr. Marie. No bankers as such, but not the most costliest of outlays. And of course, you can always go the percentage route. But 2, 4, and 8, whom we discussed, are the numbers that should see us through the first leg of that bipot, the first of 8. And a reminder, the scratching in race number 1 is number 9, Lemon Cent. So that'll be the bipot, starting with our first of 8 at Hollywood Bettsgrave. Race 2 is over the 1,900 meters. It's a maiden plate, and it will be a field of 8 set to fight out that finish. No scratches have been updated for race 2 as we speak. We're off with race 2, the first leg of the PA at 1:05. Talking of PAs, Daryl will be giving us his place accumulator suggestion. But first of all, let's cross over to Darren. Now, the favorite is the rating stable of Weho Mowing. It's an improved run last time out. First time on the poly, I do believe. In fact, second time over the poly. And it was a very good second. Would that be a bank of that PA if you were taking the PA?
Well, surely she's going to run in the PA in this type of company. My only concern, she's out of a VAR mare. And I'm not sure if the miles are limit, but she is going 1,900 meters. She did stay on all the way to the line against Summer Song. On that run, she had Off Limits behind her, but I do believe Off Limits is going to improve more over the 1,900 meters. So 2 and 5 to fight it out. And then Joan the Wad, also out of a National Assembly mare going 1,900. So 2, 5, and 6 to fight it out in no particular order.
Darren, would you agree, or Daryl rather, thanks so much to Darren, would you agree that two horses should see us through, or you're going to go a bit wide in that first leg of the year?
Yeah, Cecil, I've gone two horses in the place accumulator. I went numbers 2 and 6, and I only went with the 6 because of the jockey arrangements. You can see Mr. Rich also has number 3 in the race, Rutler's Star. Now, if you have a look at her breeding, Cecil, she's actually related to Miyabi Gold. Miyabi Gold ran in the Durban July, over 2200. So he has a daughter by Silvano who should actually love the step up in distance, and she's likely raced. But Carl Dickon, who's the stable jockey, has opted to ride number 6, Joan the Wad. So I've gone numbers 2 and 6, but I respect the 3 and the 5. I mean, both of them can't be discounted over here.
I see the Hurston stable with Chase Mojan in the saddle had a winner at this Hollywood Bets Castle. They certainly have hit their straps. All right, let's have a look at that suggested pair from Daryl. Thanks very much to him once again. And it's those numbers he mentioned, the 2 and 6. So again, no bankers, but it is again not the most expensive outlay. 288 Rand in total. There's lots of room to take smaller percentages or even take that 50% if your budget allows. But that'll be off with the running of race 2 at 1:05. So for race 3, the first leg of the pick 6, we drop down to 100 meters to a 1800 meter. This is the merit weighted 78, our first handicap of the afternoon, and it certainly promises to be fireworks in the sense that personally, I feel that there may be 1 or 2 with the winning chances, namely the likes of Eta Banzai Pipeline, whose merit rating is seemingly going up again after some good form. Would you include Banzai Pipeline in your selections?
He must have a winning chance. He just doesn't give you any confidence moving down to the start. So I don't know if you've actually seen him. He moves down terribly, but yet he comes back much better than what he goes down to the start. So that really doesn't matter. So don't let that put you off.
Okay.
I like the look of number 10 over here, Fire Flare. Now, if you recall that race, Richard Fourie rode an absolute perler on the runner-up.
Yes.
Scampton. And this horse encountered all sorts of traffic problems. But when he got out into the open, he really went and fetched the pacemaker in a good style. And I believe he's better than his current rating. So I'll make him the horse to beat, number 10, Fire Flare. If you have a look at the Hollywood Syndicate comments with regards to number 2, Afropolitan, don't be put off by the rest. He's very fit. There just haven't been any races for him. So he's probably going to be the likely pacemaker with the apprentice taking that 2.5 kilograms off his back. And I see number 6, Famous and Rich, who was made to work from a wide draw last time out, getting the perfect toe through because he's a handy sort, Cecil. So I'm hoping he can just track Afropolitan, having his 3rd run off the rest. He's nearing peak fitness now, and strike early in the straight. So I think he's a live wire over here. I think he's a nice upset material in the race. So I've gone short over here.
Okay.
I've taken my chances with number 6 and 10.
All right. So now let's turn to Mr. Burrows. You are going to be suggesting a pick 6. And might I ask, are you going wide in that first leg or you've got a definitive choice?
Cecil, I thought a field race. I think all 12 runners have a chance of winning. If you look at Afropolitan, he took on Stronger last time and he won. A horse like Fine Admiral, I labelled Fine Admiral last time out from 16 to 1 into 6 to 1. And he was narrowly beaten by Banzai Pipeline, but he was making his run late. Another 2 strides he would have got up to beat him. And he's got to be a serious runner with 52.5 kilos on his back. Catch the Tune's not out of it. His comeback run last time out behind Etiquette was a decent effort. He handles the poly well. Fire Flare's got a chance to, I thought, a very, very open race.
Well, when Darren does suggest that it's going to be a field race, you know that there are a couple of bankers on the way, and the first of those 2 bankers comes about in race number 4, which is the second leg, and that's number 7. Kanyisindlela, that is Shine the Light on the Road or Clear the Way. And then in the penultimate leg, race number 7, that is going to be the 6, who is the banker, and that is the Princess Arlo. Again, it is a very inexpensive outlay in spite of those 2 fields at the front and at the back. pack of a 555 Rand. All I can do is remind you that you have to be on if you're interested in that pick six at 2:15. Well, on Saturday, we saw those Sugalam silks to good effect when Free for Orchids came through to win at the first leg of the Bipo. That was race number 2 for the stable of Yuan Yansi van Furen. And that certainly looks to be upwardly mobile, not really extended as the handicapper keeps a close eye. But those same silks are on what should be a bullish bet for Mr. Burrows, and that's the 7 Kanye Sindlela.
Yes, Cecil, this horse will take a power of beating. The reason why is because he's handicapped to win with the 4 kilos off his back. Trent Mayhew, a very, very good rider. He's got a bright future ahead of him. And with the 4 kilos off, you could drop his rating another 8 points. So course and distance winner, consistent with the blinkers. I expect him to go very close to winning.
Okay, so that's a pretty confident selection there from Darren. We saw that in his pick 6 to 7 Kanye Zindlela. Now, as far as you're concerned, Daryl, what would you suggest in terms of just adding a spice, a bit of bipot or swinger material?
Yeah, what's the time now, Cecil?
The time now, in fact, it's
Not
going
time.
to be 2:15, the off time to race 4.
No, I'm asking you the current time.
The current time is 10:10.
Time for orchids. Not tree for orchids.
A lot of information in the head.
Cess? Yeah, I like Kanyise and Lela's chances. He's definitely back on his preferred surface.
Yeah.
And if you watch the race last time out, he got caught on the fence. And the horses that dominated the finish circled the field and got first run on him. So with the 4 kgs off his back, I respect his chances. But if you have a look at this race, I don't think there's much pace in the race. And yeah, you got Mr. Lafferty and Muzi teaming up again. They took the feature over the weekend, well, yesterday. And I don't see much pace in the race over here. Josephine's Pride, his 2 post-maiden efforts have been fair. He certainly hasn't disgraced himself. And if he's allowed to stride and settle in front, I think he could prove very difficult to peg back. So I'm going 9 from 7 in this lineup. Got respect for the 1, Kimball O'Hara. I think that was a fair local debut and he steps up in trip. Some equipment changes with regards to his chances. But number 9 is my top pick.
Okay, so there is a box to exact suggestion if there was ever, but we're going to go to the focal point of the selections, and that is Darren's win suggestion, and that's number 7, Kanye Sindlela, who will be bidding for a win number 3 from a 24 outings, Alison Wright, with the promising apprentice Trent Mayhew taking off that 4 kgs. So that's a suggestion, and if you want to take that swing or box exacta, 9, Josephine's Pride, suggestion from this perspective, that is Daryl Marie. So that is the first leg of the first jackpot, and that is definitely off at 14:15, and we should see those silks of Time for Orchids possibly in the vanguard come the end of race number 4. Well, we did suggest that Scampton was a scratching. That is indeed the case when we previewed the opening leg of the PA 3 races back. Well, it is definitely out. That was number 9. So that leaves us with 8 runners in the field. Now, as far as the status of race number 5, which will be the first leg of the second jackpot, a merit at 73. In fact, there's a second scratching. My apologies. Cavalieri. That is also out now. So that leaves us 7 runners. 1,600 meters a trip. Does that make the task easier for us, Darren? Daryl.
Cecil, I think this is a difficult race. I'm expecting improvement from Brave Voyager. He's back on the poly track. I think he's a better sort when he goes forward. And last time out, he just had to overdo it. He had a very bad draw to contend with. So I thought he was made to work to get handy on that occasion. Whereas here, I don't think that will be the case. And if he gets easy fractions up front, I can actually see him holding on. Sundance Kid, have a look at his breeding. He's by Master of My Fate out of a Fortwood mare. I think he's crying out for the extra. So he has a horse that's very consistent, and yet he's unexposed over the mile. So he's going to form part of my play. And Winter Waves quickened up well last time out. He has won over the course and distance before. If he reproduces that effort, I think he could be a factor here. But I've got a preference for numbers 4, and 7.
4 and 7. Just going over to Darren. Numbers are 2, Cavalieri, and the 9 is Campton are most definitely scratched in race number 5. Sundance, a kid lightly raced, 11 runs as a 4-year-old, and I'm sure, as Daryl suggests, that there's a lot more to come.
Yes, I thought Sundance Kid quite hard to beat as long as he sees out the mile. But if you watch his replays, he's always a little bit sluggish off the pace, and he runs on very strongly over 1400. On pedigree, he's going to love the mile. And I just feel that he could be a slight division above these. Winter Waves, I believe he's always best over 1400 meters. He got away with a mile once or twice. Mr. Pigal's not out of it, but he is having his second run back. So in the pick 6, I put 3, 4, and 5, but I'm having a small strike on Sundance Kid.
Okay, so that is the suggested better for race number 5, the 4 Sundance Kid, bidding for that second win from 12 outings, a 4-year-old son of Master of My Fate and regular pilot Calvin Abib will be getting a 7th ride. He's run a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th, and hopefully for the followers of the show, it should be a win from that 12th outing. That is race number 5. 2 and 9 are out, 7 runners for that 5th of 8. All right, so this is the merit rate at 89, race number 6. This will be a last chance to get him involved in a pick 3. It's over the 1400 meters once again. And looking at the scratching, that'll be the 9, Ibuto. The 7, Bowie, who's in the same silks as the now scratch number 9, Ibuto, certainly does look to be knocking on that door, literally banging that door down for that next victory. The 7, Bowie, comes off a bit of a break, but it seems that it runs well fresh. Darren, and would you consider this one as a good win proposition?
Definitely. He's run off 4 McGear. Last time out, William Robertson. He has got 60 and a half, but over the 1400 on the poly should suit him down to the ground. I made it a field race. It's interesting running in Arena Trogon, changed stables. He had ability in Cape Town, but 61 kilos after a long break. I could make a case for everything in the race. William Rufus, now when they stepped him back to 1200 meters, we actually landed a gamble on him from 5-1 into 2-1, and he won. But they're going up to 14 again, and he seems to be a little bit one pace late over 14. So I would wait for William Rufus to drop back to 1200 before having a strike again. I made it a field race.
Thank you so much, Darren. Now, as far as the pick 3, which I hope you will give us one, Mr. Marie, what would you suggest? Is it an open looking race? Voldemort. That seems to have just suddenly sort of stood still. That debut in Cape Town, if you remember, first time out, flew up, and people said next time out can't lose, and that turned out to be the case. But it's flattered to deceive sometimes.
Yeah, but if you watch his latest runs, so he got taken out. He certainly should have finished a length or 2 closer. That was returning from a rest. He now gets the 4 kgs off his back, and he's going to strip fitter. So he's actually formed part of my play. He's one of the course in distance, and he goes well over here. And there should be pace on over here. So I think if you can just track them, don't be surprised to see him notch up another victory. Bowie, he hasn't seen the winner's enclosure for close on 2 years. He's consistent, should run another honest race, but I don't think he's one you can really rely on and have a win bet and be confident, because he'll be thereabouts again, Cecil. William Rufus, the money was down last time out. Going to strip fitter. I don't think the 1400's much of a muchness for him. He'll be thereabouts again. And of course, if you do want to take my suggested pick 3, Cecil, I see there's an equipment change over here. And overnight, I actually said to myself, if the blinkers come off Winter Baron, I would like to include him in my play. And this morning, that happened to be the case. He hasn't really performed on the poly track yet, but I think he could really get a smooth running transit over here from a 1 draw. And I'm expecting a lot of improvements on his behalf. So I went numbers 3 and 6 over here. If you want to go wider, include the 1.
Okay, so Nostradamus, he's gone pretty narrow in the first leg, 3 and 6, and if you're going to go wider, the 1, the Winter Baron. But Horses like 7 Bowie, that is for your own personal consumption, but our tips is what we're here to listen to. 3 and 6. Let's just confirm that pick 3, that is going to be what? 24 Rand, a very inexpensive one. And if you are confident of that first leg, I think you can take it a couple of times and you might just be on the receiving end of a very good return as we get into the nitty gritty of the Met Week, which comes about on Saturday. Okay, so race 7 will be the penultimate race on the afternoon and the last chance to get involved in a double. And what better way to work out a double than a banker in that first leg, a confident banker with good value. And that is exactly what we're going to get from Mr. Burrows. But first of all, his thoughts on race number 7 as we hopefully are now on tenterhooks as we look to the last 2 legs of the pick 6.
Cecil, now this is probably one of the better bets on the card, Princess Arlo. You know, last time out, I just wanted to see how she went because she was disappointing in her 2 starts before that. But they stepped her up to a mile. She went to the front and she just extended away from them in style. She got an 8-point penalty, but she's a filly on the up. And even though it's a stronger field, I think if she dictates or sits in a handy position, she could give that winning kick the final bit. So dropping back to 1400, not a concern, as she has won a sprint before, and I'm hoping that she can confirm that last run.
Well, all progeny of Vercingetorix are certainly flying at the moment, Daryl. The 6th also, Princess Arlo, as Darren rightly points out, on the up, 6 runs of just for the 2 wins, no placings in the interim, but it seems a penny has dropped.
Absolutely, Cecil. You know, it was no surprise to see her win last time out. She's won both her races to date when allowed to stride up front. And I don't see them changing anything. I think she'll go forward. Just my only concern, last time out in a mile, she crawled. There was no pace on. She got it all her own way up front. Being a 1400, they go quicker. And I don't think she'll be able to dictate to her own terms this time round. I respect her. She did pick up a hefty penalty, but I thought that margin flatters her a bit because she really got given that race on a silver platter last time out. So I like her chances. I just think it's going to be a bit more trickier for her. Number 4, Dance Me Lord. I know she's not at her best over the 1400, but she does return from a bit of a break. She's the class act in the race. Of that, there's no doubt. And she could race fresh. When she's good, she's very good on the surface. Cecil, so I respect her. And then Bosnay's come down nicely in the ratings. She could feature, certainly go into your trifectas and quartets.
And of course, just a last word on that, it's be interested to see what sort of debut Queen of Smoke will make after some decent form up here on the high fault. Went off slightly, but maybe a change of environment may just see a rejuvenation of that form. All right, so 7-2 at the moment is what I see about the 6er Princess Arlo. Get in early, and it could certainly be a very, very good way to get into that last race of the afternoon. Princess Arlo, that is the selection. That is saddle cloth number 6 from the stable of Glenn Cotson, racing in those lucky colours of the ITSSA, IT and Business Solutions Pty Limited, looking to make it 3 wins from 7 outings.